Well, hello. I'm Jeff Myers, and welcome to Elgin Today. We'll have a special look at Nightmare on Chicago Street with Fred Wims, right here on this edition. That's right, this will be the 9th year for Nightmare on Chicago Street, which has become wonderfully successful for the city of Elgin and also brings out lots of people and zombies. We'll talk with Mr. Fred Wims, so instrumental in making this a success over the years, and he'll tell us all about Nightmare 2019. Rainstorms forced the red carpet reception for the 11th annual Elgin Short Film Festival to be in the lobby of the Hemmons Cultural Center. The short films themselves were well received, and for the second consecutive year, Elgin resident Trevor Morgan's film won the People's Choice Award. The Mayor David Captain segment takes us to Festival Park as the mayor talks with Mr. Greg Hulke of Parks and Recreation Department. Greg and the mayor talk about the new playground equipment that was recently installed at the 12-year-old Festival Park. We will take a look back at the 6th annual Elgin Fringe Festival, and very successful it was. We'll hear from an Elgin lady who performed as a poet laureate. Also returning from the Quad Cities, former Elgin resident, a magician, was back. It's the Elgin Fringe Festival. Take a look back. And our Elgin Today cameras went to the golf outing at the Elgin Country Club put on by the Elgin Sports Hall of Fame Foundation. They were raising monies for their Student College Scholarship Awards. And Ron Lang, the president of the hall, talks with former Larkin great Ryan McKenna. We'll have these stories and more on this edition of Elgin Today. Saturday, October 19th from 6 to 11 p.m., it will be time for the 9th annual Nightmare on Chicago Street, the ultimate Halloween experience in Elgin. Information about ticket prices at nightmareonchicagostreet.com. We had a chance to talk with Mr. Fred Wims, the art director and really the creator of this event, and he tells us about the early days on Nightmare on Chicago Street in Elgin.
It first started off with this being Chicago Street, this one street level and one idea of like, hey, let's do a zombie apocalypse, let's destroy the city because that's the cheapest thing we can do. So we flipped up cars, boarded up windows, and came up with a concept from that. So like a dark night setting, and we built props with a very low budget and thought, honestly, we only sold tickets ahead of time, about 7 tickets, and we was like, oh, maybe only us and 7 people would come to this event. But reality was 3,500 people came to the first year. So it was a successful first year. And then we were like, okay, we got something. And we just needed to get the business and more involved. And then that's what the evolution started when EPH was like, hey, this is a success. I want to do it. Martini Room backed it up, and like other business, so on. And then it grew from that 3,500 to 5,000, 6,000, 10,000, 15, and we was in major leagues in 15, right? And right now, we had our highest success is about 19,000 people for a one-day event for 5 hours. Last year, we had our first person from out of town. When I say it's out of town, from all the way from California. We do have a family that comes from Tokyo that come to this. So it's not just Chicago, it's all neighborhoods and all around the world that come to this event. It really is one of a kind event. So people are lucky to come to it.
Your creativity is incredible.
Oh, thank
you.
you.
Tell me about how you evolved so well into that.
I think it's just the fact that I'm like geared a trained artist. Doesn't matter what the item is, you just tell me what it is, and it's a challenge, and I want to create it the best that I can. Go my whole 100% full embodiment of like creating something, right? So why it's so successful for Nightmare was because I kind of in the idea of doing horror. I just watched the movies, Zombieland, old classics, anything I can think of where it was zombie-related, I watched it, and then I was like, okay, now I fed myself, now how should I regurgitate this into a street? So the whole idea was to make it as real as possible, and like if the zombie apocalypse actually happened, and that's what I try to create. And that's why I go solely extreme lengths and making cars blow up, flamethrowers, truck flipped over, Jeeps driving on vehicles. Like we really try to make it real as possible, and that's why it's successful.
Where do you get all the help involved with this?
The help, I mean, some of our sponsors, like Artie's Towing, has been sponsoring us since the beginning. He brings in the junk cars. He helps us flip the cars over. The police, the fire department also help in, figuring out what's safe and what can be secured for the city. And then it's just it's hundreds and thousands of volunteers that help out over just the setup or over a little time of building. It's a very small group that actually throws this event, but there's a lot of volunteers that actually set it up.
You're kind of like the Macy's Thanksgiving Day Parade. Once the event's over, you start for next year, don't you, almost?
Oh, yeah. I mean, it's 6 months out. I start on it. Yeah. So it's like I go sleep for 6 months and I wake up and then it's right there. Yeah.
We're at a location right now. You've got place to construct some of the things you do.
Yeah. I actually build in a very secret,
You can listen?
secret, very secret barn location. I won't tell you where it's at, but we do build in the milk barn. It's a double-decker that we actually built most of the props. Other than that, we had another second location because we grew so big. One location to build is not good enough, so we expanded. And our second location is where we at right now.
Now, for 2019,
Svengoolie has his 40-year anniversary this year. Yeah. So Svengoolie, we're also doing B-Movie Boulevard for kind of celebrate Svengoolie's 40th year. So we have a whole street kind of dedicated to like the B movies, the golden age of horror. So we expect these from something new and different.
It's the Elgin Short Film Festival, this time an indoor red carpet reception as it was a rainy night on Saturday, September 21st. So folks like the MC Mike Toomey joined us inside. We talked with many folks on this exciting night, including one of the judges, a familiar face, Downtown Neighborhood Association Executive Director Jennifer Fukala, who talked about her role on this night.
Well, this was really wonderful. I really enjoyed it. The films were great, and it was really amazing to see so many great people to come out here in downtown Elgin for this event, and also just so many great films that were submitted.
What's it like back there when you're deciding the winners? Is there a lot of conversation? What's the feel of that?
We were all kind of just weighing in on the things that stood out to us about each film, and just kind of, hearing what each of the judges, what stood out to each of them. And, some of us had similar things to say, and some of us really were, coming from different perspectives on it. But, there was some good conversation about that, and I think everybody kind of, weighed in with where their heart was at, after seeing the films.
The audience choice was from an Elgin man. That's great.
Yeah, I really enjoyed that film. I thought it was great that a lot of the background and the subject matter was very recognizable. That definitely kept me engaged in the film, and I also really enjoyed kind of the action scenes and the driving scenes. I felt like I was along for the ride with them.
Tell me what this event means to the city of Elgin.
Elgin, if we're really going to talk about Elgin as a city for the arts, it's really about great events like this, and having events like this move forward and grow, and having new artistic events come along as well, and so this is really important for the city, and I think it has a great impact.
The audience loved you. Trevor Morgan, you're an Elginite, is that right?
Yes, I am.
How long have you lived in Elgin?
About 2 years, but I grew up in Illinois just down the street and have been visiting Elgin for decades.
You know how that's gone over the years. Your movie's about travels to hours away. I see Pennsylvania signage, but you use a lot of our area, don't you?
Yes, I use a lot of 31. I use. There's one scene that's shot on Chicago Street in downtown Elgin. It was just the opening of the film.
How long ago did you make it?
We started early 2018, and then we finished in the fall of 2018.
Wonderful. Sound like you had a great audience, local audience for you when they were roaring for you.
Yeah.
Don't be modest now.
I can't tell if it was just a lot of people I knew or they just really had a good reception to it.
How do you think this short film festival, what it means to the city of Elgin?
I think it's one of the pinnacles of the community and events all year. It's like this and Nightmare on Chicago Street for me.
Starting Point was selected the best on this night by the judges. Director Camo Altamini was not in attendance, but two members of his team were.
Camel's film is a testament to what happens after a disaster and how you should move forward, thinking about the positive things and, the aspect of how difficult it is to do that. I know that for him, a deep inspiration was, the result of, climbing in the Middle East and, coming forward from like such a, when a disaster happens and how you move forward and especially how art and family is so important to that, and to present it as a fairy tale to make it accessible for people.
I did the sound for the film. I really enjoyed the story from the beginning when he approached me. I thought the whole crew did a really good job, and I was really happy with how it turned out.
Again, in other years, the Judy Brownfield musical extravaganzas before the event are always a highlight. This year with the rain, it became an inside show at intermission. Judy tells us more.
Oh, did it rain? Well, just about. And we did make it work. We had 30 performers this year for the red carpet. We had a very unique finale planned for the whole town of Elgin. It was the Ferris Bueller parade scene. Well, the storm clouds came in and we had to make a decision, and it went inside. But what happened with those teenagers was a little bit of a miracle. They staged themselves on the steps and stairwells of the Hemmons lobby, and 26 students bounded out of the doors and up from the stairwells to perform and round out Ferris Bueller's Twist and Shout in the best way ever. And it didn't hurt that Jimmy Nick, a really well-known guitarist in our area, came down those steps holding his electric guitar and making a hot riff all the way down. It was a miracle of a night. The red carpet's always a fun thing, but when you have to make a plan B work, they did tonight.
Hey, we got a great time, and outside we are with our segment with Mayor David Campton. Mayor, it's beautiful today.
Good morning, Jeff. We're really enjoying the fall weather in Elgin, and we're at Festival Park. And with us today is Greg Halke. Greg's in charge of doing a lot of the grounds work and maintaining the playground equipment, which is what we're going to talk about today. The playground equipment in Festival Park at the northern end kind of got a little bit used, and which is a good thing.
Mm-hmm. Sure.
Kids used it. It's had, I don't know, Greg will fill us in on how long it's been here, but it just gets worn out, and we have to replace it as part of a long-standing process just about in every park as to what we do. And people kind of forget that. They think once we build something, that baby's going to last forever, and it doesn't. So we spent quite a bit of money this year. Greg, give us some details as to what we've got going on behind us here and what the cost was and how long the project took.
All right, Greg, I was here Memorial Day 2005 for the ribbon cutting, so I know that's when we opened.
Okay. Yeah, it did open around 2005, and since then it has received amazing response. It's been highly used, excessively used almost to some point, and every day during the summertime, just hundreds of kids out here using the playground equipment. And the original piece of equipment that was here when it was installed was a net climbing structure that many of you have seen over the years. And over the course of 11, 12 years, the nylon coated steel cable just deteriorated enough where it wasn't replaceable or repairable anymore at that point in time. So we decided to go with a new structure, the one that we have behind us here now from Miracle Playground Structures. They were able to cut us an extremely good deal because at the time this structure was only one of 3 in the country. When we purchased it, it was around $70,000 for this particular structure. Cost us another $50,000 to have it installed, but it was one of very few at a time. There's probably 10 or 12 of them around the country now. So we have a very unique structure to the Midwest for all intents and purposes. So, and it's gotten a lot of good response. It's very tall. It's about 25 feet tall at its highest point, but all that is enclosed up top, so that gives us a very low impact fall rate because people can't get up there. Wow. So you can have a very tall structure, but it's enclosed, so it keeps it low, so we don't have to worry too much about people hurting themselves on it.
Our winter weather, does that deteriorate things quicker more than other parts of the country?
Definitely. Our winter weather, the humidity, everything like that is going to deteriorate anything that's metal faster than anything that's anywhere else. If you have a dry climate, the metal just stays longer. So definitely.
Good work. Everything looks great here now.
Well, we talked about falling and one of the things that we need to talk about, and we did this up at St. Francis Park, the surface that the kids play on. You can bounce here a little bit. It's kind of spongy. St. Francis Park was very spongy and walked out on it. It looked like grass. Enjoyed that a lot when we did that. Made me feel like a young guy. And I did enjoy the climbing rope. I did climb on that a couple times. I hate to
Is there
admit
video of that, man?
I don't know. Probably not. Hopefully, if I should have destroyed all those by now. But anyway, so this is really from a ground up restoration here, correct? And it's we go all the way to the subsurface and all to the playground equipment on top of it. So all of that cost. What was the total cost here for the entire project? And how long will we anticipate this is going to last?
Well, this entire project was about $130,000 for this project. The tile was installed for the cost of about $80,000 4 to 5 years ago. So this tile actually was here already, this flooring area here. So the company came in and they pulled up the old tile, or pulled up the tile that was here and removed the old equipment, came and put the new stuff, and then regraded everything, compacted everything, and then reinstalled the tile that was here already. So we're able to use some of the existing stuff here. This should last for another 10 to 15 years or so. 15 years is about where we get on most playground structures nowadays. So to where, deterioration, degradation, anything, of the structure of the equipment, and then, safety requirements change over the years, so something new comes along, and everybody wants something new anyway. So 15 years, hopefully.
A great showcase, it always is.
It always is. And, when you have that many people that enjoy it, I think that's the part of what a park is supposed to be. And we try to target the ones that get the most use. I think probably the best way to look at it is see how fast the equipment wears out.
That's right.
And most parks, I could tell people pretty much respect the park. And, vandalism is something that we always have to deal with all over, graffiti and those kind of things. But I think in general, people respect the parks and the places the kids play.
I think you're correct, because it's always neat and clean here, isn't it?
It is, and staff takes a lot of care down here, and every day somebody's down here taking care of this. And we also have the great lawn out here that we'll be talking about that as well. And things change as time goes on. And Festival Park was part of the downtown reconstruction when the casino came in, and as part of the vision for the community, and still part of it.
It is indeed, no question about that.
And I think one of the things that, behind us is a water feature, and those things also, they take maintenance, a lot of maintenance. Kids love them, but it's something that we also have to deal with. And right now we're undergoing some work over at the rec center and doing restoration on the pools and stuff. I was in there yesterday, and they're draining the pools. So this is a constant thing. And let me ask Greg, how do you time these things, and how do you're relatively new to this part of the job, but the last year or so, how do you vision moving forward here? How are we going to keep up? And how does the city council, as part of our budget process, which we'll be getting to in this time of the year, how do we plan to move forward and maintain all these parks in the quality condition that people expect?
Greg, one more thing before that. Is this the original water fountain, or did
This is the original water fountain.
So no retooling in recent years?
There have been some retooling over the years. This last year we replaced the controller so that it would actually work. That was one of the issues we had going in the season. It did not work at the beginning of the season, as anybody who called in, we had a lot of calls earlier in the season because it wasn't working. So we replaced the controller, and it has been up since then, and should be no problem for next year as well.
So that's been durable, 14 solid years.
Yeah, more or less. It's actually one on the one controller and the existing jets and everything else that's been out there for about 12 years, 14 years. It's been pretty durable for the most part.
All right, the mayor asked you that more general question.
Sure. Yeah. We have a playground inspector who goes out and checks all of our stuff on a regular basis, and he gives us an update constantly as to where all the parks are, age of the parks, what kind of condition they're in, if we can still get replacement parts for those parks. So that's kind of where we gauge when I'm looking at replacing certain parks. So it's about condition of the equipment and how much use it does get, along with age. So that's where we kind of gauge where it goes. How to budget going forward for that, a lot of it is an educational process. Like you said earlier in the segment, Mayor, this is stuff that has to be replaced. Once we pay for it once, it's not done. We have to come back and retool it at some point in time, because it does wear out. So it's educational to make people, to show people, council, other other staff members at the city, to understand that yes, we have to replace this on a regular basis going forward, and trying to find money within the budget, in the general fund, wherever, to facilitate us replacing some of these older playgrounds, more heavily used playgrounds, all the things that encompass those parts of the world. So it's a lot. It's largely an educational process and making sure people understand what's necessary.
That's why you're doing such a good job. Good work on that. A couple minutes left, Mayor. We're here. We're on a school day, so on the weekend this place is hot.
This is it is, and it's that's a great segue for us into talking about education. The city and the Alignment Collaborative for Education, EPEL, received a grant from the Kane County Fit for Kids, and there's going to be some signage that's you're going to see down in Festival Park that we hope to get in this month, and it's education. It's about making kids fit, how to be fit as a young person, things you can do, how do you exercise. Greg's going to be in charge of putting the signs in. The grant's I think a little over $11,000. Educational things, and how do you run? How do you eat? How do you eat better? Those kind of signs will be out here for young people. We also do a thing with the schools through Fit for Kids, where we walk to school with grade schools. And people sign up and walk, and I'm going to try to do that.
You're always walking, aren't you?
I am. I try to do that, as much as I can. And it's about getting young people to try to stay fit. This kind of equipment is part of that summer job for them. When they're off school and they're not here, that's what kids do. They come out and play, get away from sitting in front of the computer or front of the television set, and get out and play a little bit on some of the great equipment here. And I think that Greg's doing a good job, and we look forward. Greg, you got any plans for the future? Anything we need to talk about? We got about 1 minute.
1 minute, according to Parker Thompson's youngster.
There's plenty of playgrounds we could talk about that need some replacement coming up. So that's definitely something that's on my radar quite a bit. And like you mentioned too, this playground structure, it provides adventure, it provides exercise, and that's what we're trying to bring to all the playgrounds now, to make sure there's interactive stuff that everybody can enjoy, and different elements, and experience different things at all the different parks, so they're not all stuck with the same kind of playground in the same kind of place. So, but we could sit here and talk for another couple hours about all the playgrounds that I need to replace, or the city needs replaced, to make the city the city of choice that it is.
Greg, we appreciate it. A lot of memories have been made here, so this has been wonderfully successful.
Absolutely, and that's something that you can't replace with the kids. And you always look, the council always looks at the cost, and sometimes you have to look away from the actual cost of that, and what about the memories the kids get. So, Jeff, it's been great, and we'll look forward to seeing you next month.
All right, well, sounds good. We're right here having a wonderful time. The kids are loving the playtime here at Festival Park. Greg, thanks a lot.
Thank you.
All right, bring your wrench next time. Okay?
Definitely.
All right, we're out of here. That's our segment with Mayor David Captain. Elgin today went to the Elgin Country Club for a meal and a day of golfing on Monday, September 9th. It was the annual fundraiser for scholarships given to student athletes from the Elgin area by the Elgin Sports Hall of Fame Foundation. Our host on this day is the president of the foundation, as he talks with Ryan McKenna first, one of the most popular student athletes in Larkin High School history.
Hi, this is Ron Lang, president of the Elgin Sports Hall of Fame Foundation. We're here at the Elgin Country Club for our 14th annual golf outing. And with me, I'm pleased to present Ryan McKenna. Ryan's one of our Elgin Sports Hall of Fame inductees for baseball and soccer. And Ryan, it's great to see you again.
Yeah, you too, Ron.
A couple of things, would you tell us a little bit in review what you've done before? Tell us why being a member of the Elgin Sports Hall of Fame as an inductee is meaningful to you. And then maybe tell us, why do you come back every year to help support this golf outing and participate?
Yeah, well, I come back every year because there's just some special memories. A lot of the people here at this event I've either played sports with or just watched growing up. So there's just a lot of great athletes that are part of this organization. And I just love to support my hometown of Elgin, where I grew up and came from. And it's been just a wonderful experience. So I come back every year and get to play in a foursome with my dad, my brother-in-law, and my brother. So it's been a lot of fun, and just many memories over the years that the Sports Hall of Fame has brought to me. So any way I can give back and come back out here and support, I certainly want to do.
Oh, wonderful. Thank you. We appreciate it, Ryan, having you here every year. Just to let you know, Hall of Fame is going to be celebrating its 40th anniversary next year. We're going to have some special events, including bringing back inductees, for Elgin Larkin football games and Elgin Larkin basketball games. So you'll be getting an invite for that, and hopefully you can join us and celebrate some more at that point.
Yeah, no, it's been great to be a part of this, and I'm honored to be part of the Hall of Fame here in Elgin, and it's just a lot of great people that over the years that have helped out or I've looked up to, and so to kind of be able to pay it forward a little bit and help some other people out is always something that near and dear to me.
And you certainly are helping. Again, we've increased our scholarships, from $1,000 each to $1,700 each, and we're giving them to 30 student athletes a year. Wow. So we're now past $50,000 a year.
Oh wow!
All because of the support you and all the others are giving us.
That's really impressive, and I look forward to also every year seeing the growth. It seems like the numbers just keep growing, and not only with the golf. I mean, this is a very well attended event, but just from the donations and support, it's really important to really kind of come back to where you grew up, where it all happened, and then I just again see some faces I don't get to see all that often throughout the year. So just at least I can count on this, and it's just good to kind of go down memory lane again.
I got involved with the Hall of Fame primarily because of their scholarship program, and once I got involved and realized everything else we're doing, the whole organization from top to bottom is just filled with top flight people, and we're raising a lot of money, giving back to the community, honoring people throughout the community, and the golf outing's one of the primary ways we do that. When I came on board, Dick Fitchie really was running the golf outing and had pretty much everything under control, really set the golf outing up for the success it's having now. So my involvement was really just to be able to maintain what Dick Fitchie had started with the golf outing. I'm not so sure we can do a whole lot more to make it better than it is. We're just trying to maintain. That's pretty much my primary role with the whole Hall of Fame. The people that came before me were just outstanding people, and they set up something that's just unique and has snowballed into something that's just phenomenal. And so I'm on board to try to make things keep going. The people were in a transition period with some people that began, and we're trying to bring some new people in. And we're really just trying to maintain the success that the Hall of Fame has had.
And 5 new members will be inducted into the Elgin Sports Hall of Fame on Sunday, November 3rd. Information about tickets, you can go to www.eshof.org. Former Elgin basketball stars, class of 57, Dick Becker will be inducted. Also Rich Hopkins, class of 71. Friends of Sports, David St. John and the late David Kobe. And from Larkin, softball player Ann Boyd. See you on November 3rd. The 6th Annual Elgin Fringe Festival in September brought performers from all over the country to our city, and the festival also this year broke all attendance records. Elgin Today had the opportunity to talk with a lady from Elgin who performed, who has a very unique talent, as we learn more.
So hi, good evening. I'm Chastity Gunn. I'm Elgin's first poet laureate, and I'm here at the Fringe Festival, and I am doing a one-woman show that combines spoken word, song. It features some of my original poetry as well as some writers that I look up to. So there's work from Phyllis Wheatley, Zora Neale Hurston, Ralph Ellison, just a wide range of well-known African-American artists. So it has been a while since I have actually done any theater. I actually got into poetry through being on the speech and debate team, where I got into acting, and one of the events was poetry. And so I haven't been on the stage in probably almost a decade. And I saw this as a perfect opportunity to combine the theater with poetry and just share my art with the community. What I hope that people can get out of Fringe Fest is that creativity is just expansive. So a lot of the shows are not necessarily alike. So my show, for example, is serious content matter, but there are lots of lighthearted shows, things that are more comedic. So it's just there's just a range of talent and interest. And I think that's the cool thing about the Fringe, is that it's kind of like anything goes. So it's just welcome for all types of people. Elgin has done a great job of hosting those of us who are local as well as those who are far. I know there's someone here from even California, so I think that that's awesome that the Fringe Festival is drawing people from all over the country.
And this performer also had a hometown connection.
I'm TJ Regal. I'm the Quad City Magician, and we're here at the Elgin Fringe Festival. I believe this is the 6th year. And I love coming to perform at the Fringe Festival because it allows me to do what I do in my hometown. See, I live in Davenport currently. That's why I'm called the Quad City Magician. I perform classic magic, and people have said that it makes them laugh their funny bone right out of their body.
And finally, a man always in the know when it comes to Elgin events, Jason Pulowski was able to have some fun with a mentalist. It was all part of the 6th Annual Elgin Fringe Festival in September.
You can learn more about the information you saw here in Elgin today or about city services, programs, and events by going to the Elgin website at www.cityofelgin.org. And now the City of Elgin has a 311 contact center. Elgin 311. Call, click, connect by calling 311, the city's information and request resource.
Elgin Today was produced for the City of Elgin by One Source Productions. I'm Jeff Myers. Thanks for watching Elgin Today.